April 1st, 2024 is the official day I moved to Switzerland. And in this video, I'll give you a recap explaining how I ended up spending a year in Switzerland with more than 20,000 euros in my bank account, how the year went overall, and actually working only 8 months. Welcome back to the channel, folks. I'm SuperDemi1. If you don't know, if this is the first video you're watching, it's also written behind me. I've been living and working in Switzerland for a year. I moved exactly on April 1st, 2024. This video will be released around April 1st, 2025 on purpose, because here I want to do a recap of my year in Switzerland. And yes, what I said in the introduction is not clickbait. I ended the year with more than 20k euro in my bank account in the positive, meaning compared to what I had before, that's my profit. I closed the year paying for everything and doing all sorts of things, from the coolest and luckiest experiences to the most absurd misfortunes, but I'll explain everything step by step. So let's start from the beginning. First of all, why did I move to Switzerland? I moved because I am a chef in Italy. I was working 6 days a week for a salary. Honestly, sometimes it was barely enough to live on, and I decided to move to Switzerland, supported by my mom. So the basic and underlying idea was this. I obtained Italian citizenship after more than 10 years of residency in Italy and over 5 years of waiting to get the passport. And indeed, the Italian citizenship with the idea of coming here, having more free time, ironically, because here I mainly work almost always 5 days a week, a bit more money. Also with the idea of helping my parents buy a small house with a little garden, which was what they wanted in Italy. Unfortunately, then my mom passed away. But I decided to move to Switzerland anyway, partly to get a change of scenery, partly because I had told her that I would try to work as little as possible, which, spoiler alert, didn't exactly happen. But now I'll tell you everything. Let's go step by step through an acquaintance. Then I found a job near Rapperswil, Iona, in the canton of St. Gallen, which is actually practically the canton of Zurich. In reality, I had found 3 jobs, and I chose this one from my friend because it was simply a bit more relaxed. Especially because I don't speak German. Yes, indeed, I've been in German-speaking Switzerland for a year, but I don't speak German. Until now, I've always worked with Italian and English, and I can confirm, yes, that you are at a significant disadvantage. I'll tell you right now, I'll spoil it for you, that you practically earn 1,000 francs less compared to someone who speaks Swiss German or German. But anyway, aside from the money, the great thing is that all these videos are on my channel, so you can find them there from the very moment I arrived in Switzerland. Or rather, from the very moment I started looking for a job, because I also tried searching in Lugano and the surrounding areas. You can find everything on my channel in the Swiss playlist, or you can simply scroll back a little. You can also see my earlier reaction compared to my reaction now. What did I think before and what do I think now? Even myself. Sometimes I go back to watch because I was very enthusiastic at the beginning. I still am, but anyway, going to a place and living there for a year changes you a little. The perspectives, although I must admit, unfortunately with a heavy heart, that I have had more opportunities here than probably in Italy. Maybe not from a work perspective, because I would have found much more probably in Italy with my resume of over 10 years in the restaurant industry, but certainly from an economic standpoint in Italy. I would never have managed to save so much, also because my net salary was 20k. This means that to save it, I would have literally had to not leave. So I arrive in Switzerland, thanks to my first employer with whom I am still in contact. In fact, he is helping me because yes, at the moment I am unemployed, but we'll get to that. I complete the paperwork in 3 months and work for him. The job is going quite well. Yes, it's not easy. There's the language barrier. He speaks little English. Then gradually it improved. I speak 0 German, and unfortunately it's sad to say, but a year later I still speak 0 German. Also because one of the problems with this job is that you work morning and evening. Here in Switzerland, if you speak German, you have the possibility perhaps to get into a place that does shift work. If you don't speak it, it's quite difficult. It's not impossible, because nothing is ever impossible. At the beginning, I was with a very, very difficult chef. In short, there was a little argument, and I couldn't take it anymore. So at a certain point, I decided to quit. You can find all these videos on the channel, so if you want me to go into a specific one, I've already done it. They are already public, go check them out. Just go in chronological order, so start from the oldest and go upwards, and you will find them. They are interesting, at least to people. People like them, and I'm happy about that. Then I moved on to another employer, who of course made me many promises, kept few, and acted cunningly with the contract, so I didn't last long. I started working for him in September, finished in December, and in the end I was even fired, out of spite, a few days before the actual contract expiration. And these are also 2 videos on the channel, and I must say that unfortunately working with such a problematic person made me question myself a lot. So Anna Serta was in a deep crisis. As it ended, I hold no grudge against anyone. In the meantime, guys, I always did extra work for my former employer because he still needed help, as he suddenly found himself without 2 cooks. It's true that he already had some extras coming in, but we remained on good terms, so why not? Unfortunately, with my Italian employer, it ended somewhat randomly, you know, just like that. But oh well, I'm happy because that place was really draining me psychologically and affecting my self-confidence. And if you don't have confidence in yourself, you can't do a great job, at least as far as I'm concerned. Right after I spent a month in Italy in December, we took a vacation in Finland, which I obviously filmed, and you'll get to see it once a week right after this video comes out, by the way. So subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything on the channel. After returning from Finland, I went back to Switzerland towards the end of January, and I decided, partly for you, to make videos for the channel and partly out of my own curiosity, to change things up. So I find myself without a job and I have to survive until April. In April, fortunately, I found another job with a chef who seems really skilled. There might even be a single shift, which would truly be a dream, but guys, I'm being cautious. By the way, I will be starting around the time this video comes out, so I will give you more details much later on the channel, because I always preview my videos for those who have been subscribed for a while. They already know in the meantime, but as I was saying, I had to survive for 3 months. And what did I do to manage that? Pizza delivery. I worked extra for my boss and I worked as a postal courier. Of course, I'm very happy to have been able to make videos about all these topics while doing them and to make videos. Also summarizing what the experience of delivering is like. Pizza, what is the experience of being a postal courier like? In Switzerland, is it worth it or not? These are all videos that will probably be gradually released on the channel after this. And I hope to be helpful to those of you who might be thinking of coming here to the German-speaking part of Switzerland and maybe starting as a courier, because honestly guys, it's better to have a job that pays you 20 an hour, which is quite low here, rather than a job that doesn't pay you, or not having a job at all, which is even worse. The jobs went as they went, I'll be honest. It was also nice to have the experience of being able to change, not always being stuck in a kitchen. I count on and focus on this job, here, in the new restaurant with this chef who seems to be very skilled, worst case scenario. My former employer offered me another job, the first employer, for the 2025 season. Clearly the problem is that it's a seasonal contract, so no vacation, no 13th month salary. And this is very disadvantageous for me, as I have. The goal of coming here is to save as much money as possible to retire or have a pension. Something that in Italy, unfortunately guys, if you were born in '96, I see it as very difficult unless you take precautions like I am doing. The point of the situation is that in the end, from December to April, I was idle. In many quotes, I was idle, meaning I did part-time jobs that earned me a certain amount, but it's not enough. I mean, with that, I paid for more or less. 2 months of rent, okay? But I still ended up at a loss. Then there was the vacation in Finland, which wasn't cheap, but anyway, we already paid for it. Extras. I practically paid for the vacation simply with the money from the extras. It was truly a godsend. Oh well. It was also thanks to me, because at the moment when I already knew that maybe I wouldn't be working since I didn't know how much I would earn, in the last Italian job, I did all the possible extras at full throttle. At the beginning, I did them because anyway, guys, I arrived in Switzerland, I was in a rented house, then I changed houses, I had to give a 2,000 euro deposit, then I had to import the car, then I had to register the car, then the alloy wheels of the car weren't suitable. All the videos on the Andrete Veli channel to catch up on, clearly just those were more than 1,200 francs. If I'm not mistaken now, I don't remember well. Then there were the taxes, then there was the electricity, then there were a ton of other things. Guys, the money here, if you're not careful, you burn through it. Fortunately, I'm not someone who goes out to eat at restaurants often, because here with 20 euros for a margherita pizza, guys, I guarantee you it doesn't last long. And I'm lucky to have a job that allows me to eat where I work for free, or at times with a deduction that is minimal anyway. I mean, you would pay for it as you would at home. So by doing this, I managed to save quite a bit. I calculated that over the course of the 8 actual months of work I did, I managed to set aside about 12,000 euros, which, well, by the time I finish recording, editing, and publishing this video, it will probably be $11,000, or maybe 10,000, because I'm not currently working. But indeed, that's everything I saved in a year in Switzerland. A year in Switzerland, though. Guys, during which I paid the rent for the house every month, and just that alone, between rent, electricity, water, etc., is 200 francs a month, plus 160 for the garage, plus 300 euros for health insurance. Okay, these are all the essential minimum expenses I have per month. We're talking about approximately 2,000 euros. Then you also have to add that I still return to Italy at least twice a month, covering quite a few kilometers, because from here to my home it's about 250-300 kilometers, depending on the route I take. And what does this do? It obviously leads me to drive many kilometers, consequently having to do more mandatory checkups based on the car's mileage. which have an average cost of 500 euros in addition to the gasoline itself for the round trip. But why am I lucky? It's a hybrid car, it cost me about 60-70 euros each time for fuel and tolls. Then, obviously in Italy, it's not like you don't spend anything. So let's say that every time I go and come back, 100-150 euros are spent. For 2 times a month, we're talking about 300 euros just for the trip to return to Italy. Something I do for myself, for my mental health, and also to see again my father, who unfortunately, since my mother passed away, is alone. But you might say to me, if you actually saved 10k, how do you have more than 20k now? The young girls, in fact, came to Switzerland also to invest. My funds are safe in a Swiss bank, funds that I can't even touch myself. I can only deposit unless a real disaster happens, in which case I can withdraw them. And by investing in various markets, things have gone quite well. This year, now I don't know, probably with my bad luck. By the time this video comes out, everything will be in the red, also because we are at all-time highs, really high. I invest in ETFs for those who are wondering. Having invested a good amount, those ETFs have made me 10,000 euros in profit. Okay, today, theoretically it's not profit, because until it's in your bank account, it's not actually profit, but potentially this is what I managed to achieve in 8, say, actual months of work in Switzerland. If I had worked 12, including the 13th month salary, I'm sure I would have been able to save about 15,000 euros. I repeat, be careful, 15,000 euros that I managed to save returning to Italy twice a month and paying all my expenses, which amount to approximately a minimum of 2,000 euros per month. So I consider myself satisfied. What do I think of Switzerland after a year? I think it's a beautiful country. German-speaking Switzerland is quite hardcore for those who, especially, are not used to being on their own a bit. I am, because doing a rather demanding job, for better or worse, you tend to isolate yourself, apart from the fact that I don't feel like the leader of the hermit crabs. So I'm a person who already keeps to myself. Every now and then, yes, I need to re-enter society, but it's not something essential. I just need 1 or 2 trustworthy people, and I'm very happy, honestly, just like that. And then there's you to keep me company. With intelligent and funny comments, and with a lot of nonsense that you write in my videos, guys. I mean, come on, have some self-control. Well, I do have a good laugh, but honestly, sometimes things are very embarrassing. I still appreciate everyone who participates, and especially those who subscribe, because most of you are rascals. Thank you. You follow me, but you're not subscribed to the channel. Aren't you ashamed? Click that little button, click subscribe, and activate the bell, so you don't miss the next videos. Am I happy to have come to Switzerland? Yes, oh, I would hardly go back. Now I think, but even if it doesn't work out here. In German-speaking Switzerland, not speaking German, I would probably try to move to French-speaking Switzerland, since French is more familiar to me, or to Italian-speaking Switzerland, simply for the sake of economic freedom. Not having to wait 4 months to buy a pair of shoes, especially coming from a poor family where you bought 1 pair a year, makes you reassess the world of work and money a lot. And going back is difficult, also because if I return to Italy now, after the development that has happened in the last year, it would really be a big mess. Even though I could probably find some decent work with connections and things like that. But I would like to try to make my own way, try here in Switzerland, and try to find great people who can help me. Am I still euphoric like at the beginning about Switzerland? No, but simply because when facing difficulties, facing things, you realize that it's not all roses, even though in reality, guys, I already knew that. And if I was very euphoric in the first videos, it's because I needed psychological help to feel good, because moving, leaving everyone behind. After your mom passes away, if you don't lift your own spirits, I assure you that many people give up for much less. I made it, thanks also and especially to you who support me in your own way. On the channel every day, I hope you will also help me grow. Little by little, I will try my best to grow here in Switzerland and save as much money as possible. So I will soon make the video where I retire in Thailand. The goal would be that maybe the place isn't exactly Thailand and it's quite unfeasible, but let me dream, guys, let me dream. And that's how I conclude my year in Switzerland, in my new studio. And after having also created a guide on how to move to Switzerland, which you can find in the description of any of my videos that are about Switzerland itself. I guarantee you that if I had the chance to buy it for 7 euros before moving, it would have changed my life a lot, because I would have struggled, practically a third, to handle all the documents, the driver's license, importing the car, and so on. If you like the idea, if you want a practical 32-page guide to help you and you want to support the channel, you can find the link in the description, both on Amazon and in PDF version, so we don't waste any paper. Having said that, guys, I thank you, I greet you. A year has passed, a year together with you where we have grown quite a lot. I am very proud of myself and I am very proud of you, and I hope to be able to share more years with you. So if you help me grow faster, maybe I'll be able to bring you more. Thank you. More interesting stuff, because as long as I have to work and do 3 jobs, including extras, to try to maintain my goal. In Switzerland, guys, time is what it is, and I manage to bring you what I can. Obviously, as always, if you have ideas, subscribe below, subscribe, like, share, and activate the bell, and we'll see each other in the next video. That's all from Switzerland.